LSL Stories. The Singing Stranger in Room 308. Chapter 1. The Morning Surprise. Mrs. Julia Peters was having a lovely morning at Hotel Serenity, or so she thought. As the clock struck 7 a.m., she was abruptly woken up by a sound that made her jump out of bed. She squinted at the wall separating her room, 309, from the mysterious room 308. Mrs. Peters groaned. "Is it the TV? Some morning talk show?" she muttered. But when she went to the bathroom to freshen up, the sound became clearer. It wasn't a TV. It wasn't even a radio. No, this was much worse. It was a man, singing. But not just singing, he was butchering the notes. Mrs. Peters covered her ears, wishing she had packed earplugs. "This is ghastly," she cried. "Does he think he's performing at the opera?" Her patience ran out, and she reached for the phone. Chapter 2. Stuart to the Rescue. "Good morning, Mrs. Peters. This is Stuart at reception," answered a calm voice. "Good? There's nothing good about this morning," Mrs. Peters fumed. "I was woken up by a terrible noise from room 308, a man singing in the bath, off-key and louder than a foghorn." Stuart chuckled, though he quickly covered it up with a cough. "I'm terribly sorry, madam. Was it the TV, perhaps?" "I wish it was a TV. No, it was him, the man next door, singing as if he's in a concert." Stuart scratched his head. "I'm really sorry, Mrs. Peters. I'll speak to the manager when he's back and we'll deal with this. I promise." Mrs. Peters sighed. "Well, you better. If not, I'll check out and leave a very detailed review." Chapter 3. The Mystery Singer. Stuart decided to take matters into his own hands. He knocked on the door of room 308 and waited. Suddenly, the door flew open, and there stood Mr. Barry, a businessman with shampoo bubbles still on his head and a bright smile on his face. "Morning, can I help you?" he asked cheerfully, still humming his song. Stuart tried to hold back a laugh. "Sir, we've had some, noise complaints from your singing. Mrs. Peters in room 309 isn't a fan of your morning concert." Mr. Barry's eyes widened. "Noise complaints? I thought I was being quite musical. I didn't think anyone would mind." Stuart sighed. "Maybe keep the singing a bit quieter, sir?" Barry chuckled. "Tell Mrs. Peters I'll give her a private concert next time. On key." Stuart grinned as he walked away. Mrs. Peters might not find it funny, but room 308 was full of surprises.